This is TAC Talk, Teens Advancing Conversations.
Welcome to TAC Talk. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Anayam. And today's episode, we have Ebo Entsuah, the youngest city council member of Clermont ever. Could you tell us a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, of course. And guys, I want to say thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
I know you guys are doing great work, and Thrive Clermont is amazing. I can speak by experience. Again, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. So, ask away.
Well, I'll just start. When did you join the city council and why?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to get involved, and I've always loved public service. Even growing up, community service was something that was very big in my family and something that my parents like to focus on a lot. So I always knew that I wanted to do something, and even though I was young at the time, I really wanted to make a change in my community. So in 2016, 2017, or sometime around there, is when I decided that I was going to run for office. And at the time, I was 25 years old, and I didn't know anything. I basically was just a lost kid who wanted to do something in his community and started knocking on doors, started talking to people, and eventually, when November came around, I actually lost the first time. A lot of people don't realize that, but I decided after that I was going to keep going and keep trying to do something in my community. And after another time, I finally won and became the youngest city council member in Clermont's history.
Yeah, so you mentioned being the youngest city council member. How do you feel like that impacted you? I mean, there's a learning curve there, right? How do you feel like, you dealt with that challenge?
Yeah, it was, and honestly, it was really, really mind-blowing. At the time when I was elected, the person who was next in age to me was about 30 years my senior. So it was one of those things where a whole generation had gone by and somebody else was there. So it was one of those things where I really had to learn how to listen. And even though I had a lot of great ideas, I still had to learn how to cement my place on the dais or on the council and actually be able to get things done. Because a lot of times in the past, people who are older than you or who may have more experience than you will always kind of be like, no, you should wait a little bit, or we haven't done that before, maybe it's another time we'll try something else. So for me, I had to learn, I had to listen, and then eventually I learned, okay, I can get things done. Let me find out the best way to do it.
And I also know that you didn't start off with city council or being in city management. You played football for FSU. So how did that experience kind of shape the way that you do things now?
Yeah, so I was always a big sports guy growing up. Wasn't good at a ton of them, but still enjoyed it a lot and liked to work hard and liked to train and liked to have great teammates. And that definitely shaped who I am today. Just the act of persevering, and no matter how many times you get knocked down or get kicked down, getting back up, definitely shaped who I am today. I can tell you that without sports and without football, I would not have had the courage or confidence to run for office that 2-3 times and get elected. While in comparison to some people, they may run one time, lose, and then just never want to do it again. So it's one of those things where football, not just at Florida State University, but also at East Ridge, is one of the things that shaped me and helped me to become more confident and helped me become just a better person in general. So for any children out there who are thinking about it, team sports are great. Don't just stay inside and play video games, although I love doing that. Go outside and make some friends.
So you mentioned playing football at East Ridge, meaning you grew up around here. What made you want to represent Clermont as a community? What drew you back to Clermont?
Yeah, so like you said, I did represent East Ridge. In fact, I represented Clermont Middle and Mineola Elementary as well.
Right.
So I've been in Clermont for basically 90% of my life. And I love it here. Just the community and just the people around make this city so special in comparison to other cities. So growing up here and seeing it grow so much, we had a population of about 20,000 in the early 2010s, and now we're at about 50,000. So it's just continuing to grow each year. So being able to see the growth happen and see the city kind of just, burst up and explode, it really made me want to actually step out and make sure that I could be the one to help protect the city as it's growing. Because we'll see it a lot of times, and you guys will see growing as you go through life. Just because something's getting bigger and bigger doesn't mean it's great. So it really is on us, people our age and below, to kind of make sure that we're going to be here for the long haul. And it's the next generation is incredibly important, which is why having people on council and people in charge who actually care about the next generation is going to be key in anything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I decided I wanted to come back and actually give back to my community. I may not be here forever, but I know that I'm here right now, and I want to do as much as I can to make sure that everybody has a great life here.
Right.
And you said you've been in Clermont for a long time. So what did you want to do when you were younger, or was this something you always thought you were going to do?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So my mother is a family physician, a doctor, and my dad's a civil engineer. And I have two older sisters who, one is in the medical field and the other one is in the politics, political field. So I always wanted to actually be a pharmacist. I went through East Ridge's CMA program. I became not a license, but I went through that whole program and got pinned and wanted to go out into the medical field. Went off to Florida State University and was a pre-med bio major. And then I met chemistry. And for you all will soon see chemistry is not very fun. So I decided, after going through chemistry a couple times, this is something that I did not want to do anymore. So after that, I kind of had to pivot and try and figure out what exactly would be best for me. And that is one thing I do want to bring up for you all. No matter what you feel like you want to do in life, just because it may not be something that's attainable doesn't mean that it's the end all be all. You can pivot, you can figure out something else, and no matter what you do, just make sure that you're actually going 100%. So I knew for a bit that, science wasn't the thing that I knew I was going to make my money in or even, make me happy. So I had to figure out what was next. And just from looking around and talking to my guidance counselors and advisors, I knew that I wanted to do something where I could actually make use of the talents I had. And some of those talents include, just talking to people and being able to get to know people and being able to help them. And that's kind of how I moved into the political sector / education sector as well. So I always knew that I wanted to help people in some way, shape, or form, but didn't know the best way to do it. And that's kind of how I got there.
You mentioned pivoting a lot. How do you think that that's important to somebody's career? You felt a calling towards representing people and you pivoted. So how do you feel like that's important?
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely is. Growing up in this life, everybody knows and everybody will see that not everything's going to go perfectly. You know what I mean? You may walk outside and say, hey, I'm going to have a great day, and then step in bird poop or dog poop. So you have to be able to take that next step and look at it and say, am I going to let this poop on my shoe, metaphorically, affect my whole day or affect my whole life? Or am I going to wipe it off and go find something else to do? And that's kind of how I had to look at it. Being able to adjust and be, very, not necessarily reactive, but proactive allows you to have a better, one, outlook on life, but two, also make sure that you can get to where you want to go. And that's one of the things that I've really found to be most important, especially in this day and age where there's a lot of things that aren't going great, whether it's here in the United States, whether it's in the world itself. Being able to have that optimism, being able to be proactive, and being able to pivot is key. So that's kind of one of the things that my parents have always instilled in me, and I've been doing my best to kind of instill in the people around me, is being able to be adaptable and being able to change on a dime and be flexible.
In specifics, do you think that there are any tips to success that you have for people that might want to get out into their community more or become a city council member even?
Yeah, go to everything. Literally, go to everything, make yourself known, talk to people. That's the best way to do it, because at first nobody's going to know who you are, and the more people know you, the more they can rely on you, the more they know that you're actually a good person who wants to help. So I'd say go to everything, take any volunteer opportunity you can, whether it's community service, whether it's going to a city council meeting, just watching and looking and hearing, whether it's even just going to food truck Fridays or the farmer's market. Go to it, talk to people, try and see if you can make a friend, volunteer a little bit. That's the best way to do it.
Right, so what's your day in the life look like? I feel like a lot of people they hear city council and they're like, what is this? What's your day in the life?
Yeah, so it's technically a part-time position, but honestly, there is a lot of stuff that you have to do. Whether it's ribbon cuttings, whether it's meetings with developers and people who live in the city, there's a lot of things that go on. As a city councilman, you look at taxes, you look at what your parents are paying for their property taxes. You can also look at if somebody wants to build a roof on their house, they have to come to you and they have to ask permission. You have to look at planning and zoning. So there's a lot of things that go on. And aside from my full-time job, I probably dedicate around 15 to 20 hours a week just with city council. And that's apart from just our city council meetings that we have. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on for city council, and it is a draining job, but at the same time, if it's something that you really enjoy, it's not so bad.
I just have one last question for you. How do you deal with the stress or pressure that might come from all of those events?
Yeah, prayer and reflection. Because there are a lot of days I wake up and I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. But it definitely takes a lot, and you have to remember the people that you've helped and the things that you've done in order to kind of lift your spirits up. Because like I said, there are a lot of days when I woke up and I was like, I really don't want to do this anymore. I'd rather just go play video games or go back to sleep.
Right.
So that's really how I kind of look at those days where I'm not feeling that great. And then also having a great support system, whether it's my parents, whether it's my wife, whether it's my friends. I always have people that I know that I can rely on and can talk to make me feel better and help me realize that what I am doing does have value and worth.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on to the show today. To end the episode, we'd like you to ask us each one of our own questions.
Okay, so I have a silly question first, if that works.
Yeah.
It's for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, would you guys rather fight 5 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
Ducks are scary. So I'm gonna go duck-sized horses.
I agree.
I could just like
Duck-sized horses?
Okay. I can run fast and far enough.
Okay, they're 5. There's 5 of them though, and they fly, right? Or no, I guess it's a horse, so they run, but I guess we'll see. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'd fight a duck-sized horse. Or, I don't know, maybe a horse-sized duck. Who knows? I just thought it was a fun question.
To be clear, I don't like ducks. They're
Okay.
scary.
And I don't like horses.
So it was a double whammy. There we go. Okay, so my next question is, what do you guys want to do when you're older?
For me personally, I really enjoy film and editing and directing, and having Logan here to kind of put together everything has really been inspirational to me, because I really like how it all works and being able to sit here and talk with you and interview with you, but also getting to see how it happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, awesome.
So the reason why I was so interested in the pivoting was because I've gone back and forth a lot about what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Making an impact is something that I'm very passionate about,
Yep.
something that I've been able to do a lot through this organization.
Yeah.
I've looked at things in the medical field, I've looked at things in the business field, just a lot of searching.
Yeah.
What best matches me as a person.
Yeah.
And I really like the idea of pivoting. That's why I really wanted to focus on it.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. You know, for you, you've got a great mentor here, obviously, looking for you. And FSU has a great film school, so just so you know. And for you, taking a combination of those things and looking at where you can be most helpful is probably going to be best. I can tell you that there are definitely a lot of fields where, you know, the medical field and the business field intersect. And then I know there's a lot of things, and if you are interested to talk to people, I do have friends and associates who would probably be in that field who could help you out or give you some advice. So
Interesting. Thank you.
so
of
much.
course.
So you talked about how you've been in Clermont for about 90% of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you see as your next step as a city council member?
That's a great question. Honestly, to survive.
There you go.
Like I said, there are a lot of days and when you wake up and you're like, okay, what is my next goal? What is my next opportunity? What do I want to do? Obviously, you have your city councilman, you have your mayor, and then after that, you have different levels of government that have positions you can look at, whether it's your county commissioners, whether it's your state representatives, whether it's your state senators, and there's also a number of others as well. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of positions around and everybody always has their eye on something, but at the same time, I have to look at my impact on my community and see where I'm most valuable. So right now I feel I am most valuable on city council, but that could change tomorrow. There could be something else that I'm looking at, or could be something else that opens up that would allow me to kind of branch out, take that chance and run for it again. So it's one of those things where you can have your sights set on something, but tomorrow it could change immediately. So definitely one of those things where I have no idea right now. Maybe I'll have a better clue in the next week and a half, but right now I'm very comfortable in my position on city council, and from there we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. It was nice to meet you. If you want to follow TAC Talk, you can subscribe to our channel, or you can follow Thrive Clermont on social media, that's Instagram and Facebook. Thank you for joining us today.
Can you share anything about the Costco?
It's coming.
No, I was wondering about that too.
It's coming. I mean, you could have asked. It's coming. Yeah, it's coming.